everyone, and welcome to the NJPW official English podcast. The at-home sessions continue. I think we're in week number 5 of doing these over Skype, and one of those things that really hits you is like, oh, it's been 7 weeks since the last time we were out in front of audiences in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's a bit of shame to everybody, but we're doing what we can. We're doing our civic duty to stay indoors and keep everybody healthy. And joining me in this plight all the way from sunny Atlanta, David Finlay.
What is up, everybody?
Last time I spoke to you, you were talking about your nice new couch.
Yes.
In your nice house.
Yes.
And I imagine you're spending a lot of time on that nice couch in your nice house.
Yeah, I think I might have jinxed myself bragging about it because now I don't want to sit on the couch. I've been doing everything but that just to kind of keep sane, I guess. I've been tinkering around the house, mowing the yard. I've been like touching up paint and stuff just to, I don't know, stay busy.
You're handy. Are you a handyman?
I'm becoming one. That's what YouTube's for, right?
Okay. So this is like, that's one way of consuming content, like the rabbit holes of stupid things you can watch on YouTube to kind of pass the time. Which, interestingly, I think that's something that from a New Japan end we'll be working on over the next few weeks. You can keep your eyes peeled for stuff that's coming out. And it seems everybody on the Japanese side is getting a YouTube channel at the moment. Tori
really?
Got one. Hiromu's got one. Liger's got one. Yeah. Is that, are you, I know we were talking to you and Juice about different things that we can do once everybody starts up again.
Yeah.
But is that, are you somebody that wants, I want to show my face on Instagram Live 24/7 or?
Not 24/7. I think it would be something fun to do. I did have a YouTube channel where it was basically me and Juice drinking and, just kind of being ourselves on the road, but that didn't really take off, and I was expecting it to be an overnight success, so I kind of stopped it. I was like, yeah, this didn't pay off, so so I should maybe get back to that.
Right. It's from outside looking into America, it's like every state has its own weird set of rules, or however strict things are. We talked to Rocky about how things are going in California at the moment, but what's the situation like in Georgia for you guys?
It's kind of the same. We're on an official shelter in place, which is basically a lockdown until I think the end of the month. It was supposed to be over yesterday, but they extended it to pretty much May 1st. So I go to the grocery store like once a week, and I've been working out in my garage. Other than that, like I pretty much don't leave. I mean, I guess I don't have to leave the house to work out in my garage. But yeah, I'm home pretty much until I go to the grocery store once a week, and that's pretty much everybody. My wife's working from home. Although they do, I did drive past an arts and crafts store that was like open, and I don't know why that's considered essential. Okay. But also, the liquor store's open, so I stocked up on beer.
Oh, okay. Okay. Beer is your drink of choice to get you through these.
Well, it was, and then I was like, "Oh, I gotta go easy, or else I'm gonna come back a super heavyweight."
Yeah. What's your approach to home training in these times? Are you doing stuff that you wouldn't normally do in terms of exercise or in terms of eating, for that matter?
Yeah, it kind of put me into a position where I got to get creative. So I kind of went back to the old dojo roots. Been doing a lot of push-ups, squats, sit-ups, stuff like that. I luckily had a bunch of bungee bands from having to constantly rehabilitate my shoulder. So I've been finding creative ways to get a workout with that. I actually angered it to my grill, which is like 200 pounds. So that kind of helped target some muscle groups. But yeah, it's been really interesting. I prefer to just lift weights. And I haven't really been able to do that. I have a 15-pound kettlebell, and that's about it.
Right. Yeah, we had Robbie the Eagles on last week, and that was the question I put to him of how much the mental hurdle of the first bump will be when you get back. he was saying that he might just go out and throw himself at the concrete just to get over the
Right. Yeah. Well, luckily, I've actually been until we had our official lockdown. I was still kind of going in because my parents live 15 minutes away from me, and of course they have a ring. So, and my little brother is 17 now, so he's got the itch of wanting to get into the pro wrestling industry. So him and I have been rolling around, and my dad just been coaching. But we've had to put that on pause for a little bit. But I've actually been staying pretty active as much as I could. Ring wise, just because I remember from last year, wasn't so fun being out that long. So I miss it. So I got to scratch that itch when I can.
It's got to be doubly frustrating for you because it's the same time of year as well, right?
Yeah.
It's like the end of February turn.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, hopefully I'll be back sooner than October, though. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, no, this year, Les, I was telling you earlier, this year is a little bit of an improvement. I have both my arms, so that's a silver lining.
Is I think. Well, how long have you been married now?
May will be 2 years.
Oh, okay. So it's you're past that early stage of marriage, and now you're with each other. Last year you were at home for a big chunk of the year. This year, for longer than we expected.
Right?
Is that a thing? Like as much as everybody's got to take physical care of themselves, I think like the mental strain of being cooped up is really frustrating as well, right?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like we get into little spats here and there over like stupid stuff we usually wouldn't get into spats about, which I'm sure anyone listening to this is probably able to relate to, because we're all getting stir crazy, I'm sure. But no, like for the most part, it's pretty good. Like we get to hang out, watch movies, whatever. So it's fun to be with my wife because I am usually away from her, but it does have its pros and cons when you're trapped inside a house.
Yeah. It's the one thing that we've been sort of putting out over the last few weeks as part of the NJPW Together project, which is full of really good stuff that you can watch on New Japan World or on our YouTube channels and things like that. And one of the things we put out was the New Beginning USA tour, which was not the best homecoming for Big Match Debbie.
No, it was not. That was the worst homecoming of all time, probably. Yeah, well, to set the stage, hometown kid, Big Match Debbie, going in, first defense of the tag team titles. My entire family was there, and then Juice and I got cheated out of the tag team titles, and everyone went home sad. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself. So... But yeah, it didn't go too well for us in Atlanta.
And then it got more complicated in Japan as well, because
it did.
Yeah, Ibushi and Tanahashi won the tag titles in Korakuen, and then Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi showed up and beat up those two guys. So suddenly you went from being right at the top of the heap to where are you in this situation in terms of 3-4 teams or perhaps more than that going for the same sets of titles.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting because like if we take it all the way back to Wrestle Kingdom, we beat God fair and square and they immediately got a rematch. And then, if you were to go by those rules, we never got our rematch. Tana and Bushi kind of jumped the line a little bit, but also they kind of earned their shot. Like they did get a pinfall over God. So that does catapult you right to the front of the line. But then Zack and Taichi kind of jumped the line also. Like it's just weird right now. But I firmly believe that whoever is the tag team champions can't really call themselves the best tag team in the company until they beat Juice and I, because we did win Tag League. We did win the titles. And we still haven't got a rematch. So I think... the slot for number one is still a toss-up in my books.
So that's sort of first on the agenda when we get back working.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm thinking about right now is when are we going to get out of here and when can I get my half of the tag team titles back?
Is Juice on that same page? Do you talk to Juice during this off season, or like is all the boys kind of?
It's funny because usually we don't text too much when we're home because like that's my he's like big brother on the road, because we're always together. So usually when we're home, like we might get like one or two texts here and there if we see something funny or just like, hey dude, how's it going? But I think we're all trying to stay sane, so like we've been texting way more than we usually do, which is kind of interesting.
All right, a call yesterday for questions to David Finlay on Twitter, and an awful lot of responses, perhaps more than any other of these podcasts. So I don't know how many of these we'll get to, but we'll certainly get to some of them. One person, very venturous, to a request on Twitter for tweets, actually sent us an email, so went through the extra effort. So we'll get to them first. Hadley Simons from South Africa, saying that one thing I didn't know this about you, but you were working in Cape Town before you came to New Japan.
Yes, I was. I lived in Cape Town for 6 months at the end of 2013. So I wrestled down there I did like 3 or 4 shows down there. But that's kind of where I debuted in Germany, and like the very next place I went was South Africa. So I was still at the very, very beginning stages of my career.
What's like professional wrestling like in South Africa? I've never thought about it.
I mean, it's pretty much the same as it is like anywhere, like on an indie level. It's pretty much the same. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time in Cape Town. I actually wrestled for a company called African Wrestling Alliance, and they were really good to me. They kind of took me in and made sure I had kind of like people to go to, friends to have. They were kind of like my family down there, because I was down there all alone. So like I have only fond memories of wrestling in Cape Town.
Nice. There was one other question that I had to run through Google Translate because they asked it in German. But Silas Skywalker asked about your favorite memories from being in Germany.
See, I'm assuming they mean from when I was younger. I moved when I was like just under 4, so I don't remember too much. But I did have a chance to go back this last summer or fall, right before I came back from injury, and I actually like got to see my grandmother, who is not 100% healthy, so like she can't really travel. So with my schedule, like I don't know when I can, take the time out to go all the way over to Germany and not like actually spend real time with her. So like of all time, I think going over and like getting to hang out with my grandmother for a few days was pretty cool, because I hadn't seen her in a few years. But I remember like I remember Schützenplatz in Hanover. Like I remember glimpses of that. I remember they used to have like at the beginning of the shows, they would parade all the wrestlers out and kind of go like, oh, here's this guy and here's this guy and here's this guy. And for some reason, I like 2 years old, my mom got matching tights to my dad made. And I would parade out with not my dad, but I would be with Robbie Brookside actually. Right. And so they would actually like announce me. When they're announcing all the wrestlers, I go out, do some little pose and go back. So that was me at 2 years old.
Yeah, probably like illustrating the difference between you and your dad at such an early age of
yeah. There was a clear-cut difference from very early on.
Yeah. There's one story that our Japanese announcer Kyono tells that I believe Tenzan told him was that that when Tenzan was on excursion to Germany, he would babysit you while your dad was wrestling.
Yes, and I think Kojima would as well. I don't know how true this next part is because I don't really remember it, but allegedly, Kojima and I would have tea parties when I was like 2 or 3 years old. Which, knowing Kojima doesn't 100% surprise me because he's a little silly at times too. So like it is highly plausible.
That's amazing. That is fantastic. So when you came into the dojo here, Was that the first thing that those guys said to you? It's like, oh, I remember when you were yay high sitting on me.
Yeah, I remember I was in the middle of doing squats or push-ups or something, like day 1 or 2 of like my dojo training, and Tenzan comes up to me. And, you know, he's got the iconic haircut, so like you know who he is. And I didn't think he would know who I was. Like I wasn't expecting that, because why would they? No one's seen me since I was under 2 feet tall or something.
Yeah.
And he just comes up, he's like, "You remember me?" And sure enough, I was like, "Yeah, actually I do." So I'd made sure I had as long as a conversation as possible with him, just so I didn't have to squat anymore.
Right. Smart call. Yeah. So quite a lot of I think the boys are having a bit of ha-ha, so they jumped in on a last request here. But TJP asks, at Mega TJP on Twitter, what did you have for breakfast? And then the second question, what did he have for breakfast?
Well, I can tell you what I had for breakfast today. I made like scrambled eggs with some chicken and some spinach, and that was that. And I had some coconut milk on the side.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did he have waffles? Or I'm gonna go with waffles. TJP had waffles.
Okay, we'll have to get TJP on and then ask him if he had waffles.
Yeah, we'll need him to confirm.
Yeah. Are you more health conscious about what you're eating now than you would normally? You know, I know Robbie was saying, oh, hey, you know, I'm eating better. Some of the people are eating better than they would be on the road because they can be, you know, they can be a little bit more picky, I guess, you know, rather than.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my wife likes to bake, and there's really nothing else to do for her. She works at home. I go do the grocery shopping, so like she doesn't leave. So she's trying to like kind of occupy her time, and she's been doing that with baking. And someone's got to eat all these delicious cakes she keeps making. So like up until about a week ago, I was just pigging out, and then I was like, well, you know, this isn't going to go on forever. I need to not fall off the wagon so bad. So I've been a little more health conscious as of about a week. Right.
Fair enough. Let's see. A few people, most prominently, Rocky Romero was asking what's happened to the C Cup trophy.
Well, I had 12 of them because they came in a 12 pack.
Thumbs.
Yeah, I had 12 thumbs because it came in a 12 pack, and I know my dog ate like 2 of them. Not ate them, but like destroyed them.
Yeah.
And then like I left a couple in hotels or at a show or something. There should be a few up in storage, maybe like 4 or 5 left. But I kind of laid that one to rest, seeing as how I wasn't in any blocks last year, so I was just like, whatever. So I've retired as reigning C block champion, I think.
Oh, okay. So you've not only have you vacated that tournament, but you've actually sealed the entire thing. Nobody else can take that claim.
I didn't vacate it. I'm still the champion, but no one else can challenge for it. So like, you know, when I'm in like a lull in my career, like right now, where I don't have like a tag title or anything to defend, I'll just defer to my C block championship.
You'll just carry that out with you.
Yeah.
There was some dispute that perhaps, you know, linearly, when you think about where the C block came from, which was, you know, at the G1 Climax, we have A block, 2 blocks of the top 10 wrestlers and A and B, and then you unfortunately missed the cut in 2018. So, you know, for all the guys that were on the undercard tag matches before the G1 Climax tournament matches proper, you know, we would figure out who's scoring pins, who's eating pins, and all of this, and then it came out that you were the C block winner, and you had this thumbs up trophy. But looking at that as a pure record sense, a lot of fans are responding that Chase Owens should be the rightful C trophy, C block winner based on last year.
Well, I would disagree. I mean, maybe mathematically, yeah, but I would disagree because I bought my own trophy and he didn't, so it's mine.
Possession 9/10.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually 10/10
so, you know,
of the law.
I said from the get-go, you know, if the best way to handle this is open up your own territory and make yourself champion, and that's what I did.
Empty houses. Let's see here. Cindy Wrong Dice at Wrong Dice. What's it like wrestling? Now being in Japan. Wow, since what, 2016? 2016 is right.
This will be 5 years. I think 2015 maybe. I think just past 5 years.
Just past 5 years.
Yeah.
How has the language barrier treated you at different times? Is there any point where the Japanese has been particularly difficult, or somebody trying to communicate with you in English has been particularly difficult from the point of view? But I guess this person was asking in terms of wrestling, but outside that as well.
And honestly, in wrestling, like there's not too much of a language barrier. Because you speak Japanese, so maybe this doesn't really apply to you. But like with the people that I can talk to, we have they know a decent amount of English, and I know like a tiny bit of Japanese, and then you just kind of blend the two, and you kind of know what the other one's talking about. Yeah. So we find a way to make it work. But I think off the top of my head, the biggest time language barrier was an issue was honestly when I first started in the dojo and we had to do 1,000 squats on the first day. And they're counting Japanese. I didn't know what number we were on, so just watching the time.
Oh, right.
So that was the worst language barrier, because then it was just going on forever. Yeah. But you get your usual you're out in the wild asking for where's this, or do you have this at a store or something, and they have no idea what we're saying. Right.
And it follows on our friend Karen asks, is there something specifically that you miss about Japan?
Yeah, I miss wrestling.
Yeah, right.
So much.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's just, I would have to say I miss wrestling. I miss being around, my road family. I don't miss the 14-hour flights. That is nice to not have to do that. But I pretty much just wrestling is what I miss.
Conversely, what's the best part of being home at the moment?
Sleeping in my own bed. Can't beat that.
Fair enough. Are you surprised? Obviously, last time we spoke, you were talking about how, the shoulders sort of getting there, but it'll always be, sort of in the back of your mind. Has that gotten easier? Are there any other sort of little aches and pains and little injuries that have gone away in at this point?
It'll flare up every now and then. It'll be a little tender some days, but for the most part, I don't even think about it anymore, which is probably not good because I need to be stretching it more than I do. But yeah, honestly, I would say it's improved a lot. I don't when I'm in the ring, I don't really think about it anymore. I'll land funny sometimes, oh, there's my shoulder, but then it goes away in 10 seconds. But it's been a little over a year now, so I should be good. I should be pretty close to 100%, or as close as I'm going to get.
Right. It's almost, you're perhaps on a better footing than really anybody else. It's been frustrating that it was such a short period of time that you were back, but 4 months and then some more time off. You haven't got that. Some guys that have been, this is their first time off in donkey's years, right?
Yeah, it is frustrating though, because it's I felt all right, starting to get the wheels turning, and then the world shuts down. It's oh my goodness. So hopefully when we get back, I can get the ball rolling and keep it rolling.
Perps on Twitter, where'd you get the idea, or where'd you get ideas for attire and ring gear? And you've had a few sort of different presentations. When you came back in October, you looked kind of different. What's the thought process of I want to look like this specifically?
It's hard because I feel I'm not the best when it comes to, or I don't know. I struggle with picturing things and then translating it to I can see it in my head. I struggle to translate that to paper or whatever. But for Tag League, Juice and I actually decided that we wanted to go Game of Thrones inspired gear, which is where the fur came from and stuff. But then also am a big fan of like punk music and stuff.
Yeah.
So like I kind of incorporated a little bit of that, or tried to a little bit of that into my gear, and then I just kind of like give a very vague explanation to my gear maker of like, that's kind of what I'm looking for, and then they just come up with it. So I kind of leave it in the hands of my gear maker more than anything.
Fair enough. So, okay, well then, based on punk music, what's your lockdown playlist at the moment?
Oh man, I actually do have a playlist that's only pretty much punk music, but I've been listening to a lot of Dead Kennedys. Listened to some Rancid the other day. I don't know. I've just been kind of leaving it on play. Always listening. That's not really punk, but I've always been listening to Jimi Hendrix. That's my absolute favorite. So I just like throwing some Jimi Hendrix and go mow the yard.
Mm-hmm. Nicole Wagner at Deadly Gambit. When everything goes back to normal, who do you look most forward to wrestling?
Whoever the tag team champions are.
Which would,
hopefully be Ibushi and Kano. Yeah. If I had my pick, like I really like they kind of like, stepped up to us at New Year's Dash.
Yeah.
And that match hasn't happened. So like now the roles are reversed. They're champions. We're in the challenging position. So like we're 7,000 miles apart, whatever. But we're ready to step up to the plate and figure out who actually is the best tag team. Because I think it's me and Juice, and I think they think it's them, and there's only one way to really prove it.
What do you think of the other? Now, I mean, for a long time, I don't want to say it was flat in a sense, but you kind of had God was so dominant, and then it would be Evil and Sonata kind of doing their own thing for a lot of the year, and now they'll come together as a tag team, and they're great at both, but. Now it seems we're getting more solid tag teams. So it's you two and God obviously. But even when you looked at New Japan Cup before it got cancelled, there was an awful lot of we might have tag teams facing off. You've got Colt Cabana and Toriano. You've got like Finlay and Chase, say, or obviously Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi.
Me and Juice could have possibly faced each other too.
You could have done. What do you think of the lay of the land in terms of tag team wrestling right now in New Japan?
I like that there's more people that want the tag team titles, and I feel like this might be tooting mine and Juice's horn a little bit, but I feel like nobody really, or not didn't care, but they didn't care as much. I think a lot of the roster was more singles focused, and then I do think that we shocked people by winning Tag League. I don't think a whole lot of people expected that, and I don't know if that stirred something up and people were like, oh, well, there's the tag team titles. But I like that there's more competition, because you can't really brag about being the best tag team in a division if there's really nobody in your division. So the more the merrier, I say.
Did you grow up specifically, and when you were coming up, were you always thinking, oh, hey, I'd really like to be a tag team wrestler?
I've always been fascinated by tag team wrestling. I think it's always been my favorite style, but like my dad being a wrestler as well, you just kind of always picture being a singles wrestler, I think, before you really start. I think anyone that wants to wrestle pictures that, like, I'm going to win the big one in front of everybody on the biggest show of the year, whatever that may be. For, like, America, it's WrestleMania. For us, it's Wrestle Kingdom. So, I think at the beginning, before I really started, I always saw myself as a singles wrestler, but I really do love tag team wrestling. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. I like the numbers game. I think I'm a better tag wrestler than a singles wrestler. I have more accolades in tag team wrestling. But yeah, I mean, really, I've just come to love tag team wrestling.
There's Kota Ibushi has said that he wants to get the tag titles to the point where you could headline the Tokyo Dome with a tag team championship match, which, I mean, speaking realistically, over the last few years, we haven't seen the tag titles to that level yet. But do you think that that's something that's plausible?
I think it's plausible. I think it would take a few years to get to that point because really, it takes us having competitive matches and really like making the titles feel important with, giving our heart and soul to win them and defend them, whoever the champion may be or the champions may be. For the people to start realizing that this is like a major title and for the people to be like, no, this is what we want to see go on last. But I do think it is completely possible for us to get to that point. And I would actually really like to see us get to that point as well. I would second Ibushi's opinion on that.
Yeah. Josh at Grizzlejaw asks, who drinks you under the table that would surprise us?
That would surprise you?
Yeah.
Probably nobody. That would surprise you.
Right.
No one's like secretly a really great drinker. But some guys that are like Nagata-san is pretty strong when it comes to alcohol. Like I think when I first started going out with him, I think that surprised me because it doesn't faze him really. But yeah, nobody that would surprise you. I think whoever the fans think has a strong tolerance, they're probably right.
Fair enough. Let's see. We got one more. This was something that a couple of people asked, but I'm looking at JQN here, who, well, they asked who has the stiffest chops in the company, but somebody else asked who's hit you hardest in New Japan.
I mean, chops always hurt. It doesn't matter who's throwing them. I can't really say who's got the strongest chops. Who's hit me? Juice might have hit me the hardest, I think.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, when we were still in the dojo, we had a match at Corrigan, and he clotheslined me so hard. Which, I mean, he's trying to win, so but like we lived together. Like I was just surprised because it's like, I didn't think it was gonna go that hard. It's like, dude, your room's right next to mine. We're friends. What are you doing? Like we're opening the show. This isn't for anything.
Right,
but
right.
But then I've kind of realized, Juice goes 100% all the time, and that's something I admired in him and really tried to make my own or do likewise. Just kind of give 100% every time I'm in the ring. But yeah, Juice definitely hit me the hardest off the top of my head.
Fair enough. Last time, we were out in front of the people and on New Japan World, we had those runs in Korakuen, which was obviously when Tanahashi and Ibushi took the tag titles, but also when, Tiger Tori retired and Manabu Nakanishi retired. And, just your thoughts on those two retiring, because I assume you've like everybody, you must have had a big relationship to both of those guys, right?
Yeah, I was definitely closer to Tiger, or I am closer to Tiger Hattori. We all owe our livelihoods to Tiger Hattori, or at least most of us. I'm in that party of people that would say I'm forever indebted to him because he gave me a chance. He gave me an opportunity. He liked something about me. I don't know what it was. And decided to bring me over to New Japan and let me be in the dojo. Or like he was one of the deciding factors. And he's just always taken care of me. He's always been good to me. And like I don't know, we all love him to death. So like it was sad to see him go, but also like what a career he's had. Like my dad could sit and tell you stories about Tiger Hattori, and like my dad holds him in high regard as well. And we love Nakanishi too. I just happen to be closer to Tiger Hattori for sure.
Yeah, that time when he did give you that shot and coming in, and what is that situation like being you're fourth generation or whatever, but second generation from a New Japan standpoint? What's that sort of atmosphere like, that pressure like? I know there's Liger told this story of how completely different you two are and that kind of thing. Was that something that you really had to get past?
I think there was more of a stigma of me possibly jumping ship, was like, no. Like I chose to come to New Japan because I felt like that was where I was going to become the best wrestler I could be. You know, like I felt like if I would have went the other route, it would have been the easy way. And I never wanted that because I can't help who my dad is. You know, like I can't help that he was like, that's just the cards I got dealt, which is great. So like it's easier for me to have like a foot in the door, but like I knew more would be expected of me. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think I lived up to my expectations for a long time. I kind of unintentionally was kind of coasting off my last name, I think, in hindsight. So maybe I didn't take it seriously enough and go like, oh, there's more expected of me. But yeah, I think it's cool. Like, I think it's cool how many second plus generation guys we have. Like we've got God, their younger giant brother as well. We have me. Is that it? Oh, Shota Umino. You know, so like,
yeah, there you go.
You know,
yeah,
so
different kind of scenario, but
yeah. So like it's I don't know. It's cool that New Japan gets to have some of those multi-generation guys, and it's, you know, they're not just all going to one place.
Right. I mean, it just speaks to that legacy now, you know, and when you think, oh, we're coming up on 50 years in not long at all, you know, that's, it's wild to think about, really.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, I think that's all the questions that we can probably get away with asking
all right.
on the podcast. There's a couple of slightly rude ones, but maybe we can do that off the air. So thanks to everybody for sending those questions in, and thanks to everybody for staying with us during this time. I mean, it's a real shame to not be out in front of the people, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we got to make do. This is the hands we've been dealt currently, and we're all going through something similar, I feel like. So I think if we weather the storm and stick together, and we'll all make it through this and get back to wrestling real soon, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And while you wait, of course, we really, really appreciate everybody who's a subscriber over on njpwworld.com. So much great content, part of the NJPW Together project. My Dad is a Heel Wrestler, the headline film for April. Have you taken in that movie, Dave?
No, but I do think that movie could easily be about me.
Yeah, it could be, actually.
Yeah.
The true story. The true story of My Dad is a Heel Wrestler. But you were. It was, well, I guess maybe the timing didn't quite work out. Big Match Debbie didn't get.
I missed a lot of cuts.
Yeah. Maybe you can work on your own movie.
I'll make my own. I'll make my own indie version.
Yeah, right, exactly. Cool. So, cheers to big podcast, Debbie. That's what we can call you.
Let's call me that. Yeah, thanks, man.
That's time. And we'll speak to you next time on the official English podcast. Until next time, go kigenyo. Sayonara.